We Brits are a nation of inventors and innovators, and our products are in demand around the world, including the folding bicycle. Saviour of city commuters the world over, these ingenious little gems combine practicality, speed and style. Well, maybe not style. One of the market leaders is London-based Brompton Bikes. They hand-build nearly 50,000 bikes every year, making them the largest bike manufacturer in the UK. The iconic design incorporates over 1,000 different components. Quick-release clamps allow the seat and handlebar to tuck neatly away, and the frame to fold in half, perfect for that busy commute. And as you might expect with a folding bike, it all starts with a hinge.
So this is the beginning of the process, the core of our design. The heart of our product is its compact fold. That begins with the hinge.
The cast steel hinges are produced off-site, and when they arrive at the factory, they're a little rough around the edges. So the first job is to give them a makeover. These computer-controlled lathes fine-tune 4 hinges at once. Their dimensions are machined to within 1/4 millimeter.
On the CNC machines, we're machining in the core details that make the bike work. We take the original sand casting and we machine in surfaces and bores and hinge points that allow for an accurate, repeatable fold. If these parts aren't machined exactly accurately, the fold doesn't work.
Once it's up to scratch, the hinge is attached to a steel tube that will form the backbone of the bike.
So from here, the hinge goes onto our auto braze machine, a piece of equipment we designed in-house to join the hinge to the main frame tube. And we do that with a ring of brass.
Custom built and costing £250,000 to develop, the auto braze does the crucial job of joining the hinge to the frame. A brass ring is placed between the hinge and the tube and heated to 900 degrees. The brass melts and when cooled acts like glue, holding the two pieces together.
So we now have our hinge attached to our tube. We need to put in the distinctive bend of the main frame that allows the compact fold where the wheel tucks under. We do that on the press. So Merrick's putting the bend in that tube. We can do about 300 a day.
The press can exert up to 10 tons of pressure on the steel frame.
So that's the original part after it's come off the auto braze and rumbling, and that's the bent part ready to go onto brazing.
Brazing is used in order to join all the structural parts of the bike together. It might look like welding, but it's got more in common with soldering. Whereas welding fuses metal together using extreme heat, brazing uses lower temperatures to melt filler metal around the joints, holding them together. Brazed joints are strong, but lighter, smaller, and cause less damage to the frame than welding.
So there's 5 main frame parts to the bike, but this is the core one where we put on the pedals, the seat comes through, and where the main hinge that gives the bike its fold is. The brazers will have gone through at least 18 months training before they're doing these beautiful brazers on the bottom of the bottom bracket, and we put a lot of pride into these brazers. The brazer himself puts his mark on it, so any bike you can see who brazed your components, and they take a lot of pride in their work, and it's not unknown for people to turn up bikes in Waterloo Station to check whose brazing's on it. So yeah, these stamps will last a long time.
And while the brazers braze, on the other side of the factory, an army of assemblers are also really busy.
So Heb's assembling one of the 1,200 unique components that make up a Brompton. This is the chain tensioner. This is what keeps the chain tight when it's folded, stops the chain falling off and you ending up with dirt all over your trousers. It's an important part of the folded mechanism. This is where we build our wheels, obviously an essential part of the bike. Without 2 of these, you're not going anywhere. In our wheels, we've got 3 components. That's the hub, the spoke, and the rim. Slavo's job here is to knit those 3 things together to give us a nice true wheel. Andrew Ritchie, our founder and original designer, came up with a lot of ingenious little components that make the bike work as well as it does, and that's the difference between us and, say, some of our competitors, is all those details have been thought through.
Andrew Ritchie designed his folding bike in his flat overlooking the Brompton Oratory in London, from where his bikes take their name. But his wasn't the first. Folding bikes have been around since the 1800s and were even adopted by the military. I wonder if Brompton's coming khaki. Because back at the factory, it's time for painting.
We paint 13 different colours, our most challenging being our clear lacquer finish, which shows up all that braze detail we've just looked at. All our colours are popular, and the bespoke orders, people can come up with some really interesting combinations. A full black bike like this isn't uncommon. We've sold bikes in all sorts of colour combinations and to all sorts of people over the years. From celebrities and royalty to Olympic teams, a lot of bikes have got out there in a lot of interesting colourways.
Once the frames are painted, they're matched up with a customer's choice of options, ready for assembly.
The line works like a standard assembly line. You've got components being added at each of our 17 stations, be it the forks and the braking and mudguard options. Each station there are options, so the operator is working from our computer system to know which of the many component options are being added.
There's a dizzying array of options to suit every taste. All told, there are 16 million combinations on offer.
We're looking at the bike upside down at the moment. You've got most of the frame components there. We're just missing handlebars. The wheels are ready to be added and the brakes are in place but not cabled up. So at this point you really start to see it transform into what you'd recognise as a bike. A lot of care's put into them. We have torque-controlled equipment that makes sure each of them is done up to exactly the right tightness. The chain tensioner we saw being assembled earlier is going on at this point.
With this amount of craftsmanship, it's little wonder most of the staff here are proud owners themselves.
I have 3. I have 1 racing bike, and then I have 2 other sort of bikes just to get about. Everywhere I ride, they call me a mammal, a middle-aged male in Lycra. So if you ever see a little madman running about on a little sort of 14-inch wheel bike, going as fast as you can, and it's green and it's got orange forks, that's me.
He's in good company, because a shiny new bike rolls off the production line every 3 minutes. Nearly 75% of these bikes are destined for export. And their biggest market is, of course, connoisseurs of the compact, the Japanese. To stay ahead of the game, the design boffins upstairs are constantly looking for the next big idea.
We've been designing the Brompton bike for over 40 years, evolving it within the design department, building on the foundations of what Andrew Ritchie created back in 1975. And that process is ongoing. We're creating new parts, new components and whole new designs on a daily basis.
The Brompton Electric has been in the making for 4 years. It combines their familiar folding bike design with some state-of-the-art electronics. A rechargeable lithium-ion battery drives a 250-watt motor, helping riders climb hills and cross long distances, all without breaking a sweat. And the team are already hard at work on their next big idea.
I'm afraid you can't come in at the moment. We've got some exciting new projects in development at the moment, and we want to stay that one step ahead of our competitors by keeping those secret until launch.
Oh, maybe next time. To make sure their bikes stay on the road, Brompton put them through some rigorous testing.
This is the Rolling Road Life Test. This aims to condense the full life of a bike into 31 hours of very harsh testing. Think the worst pothole roads London has to offer. To demonstrate the quality and performance of products in production, but as a development tool too. So products that are in the pipeline, we like to look at reliability and understand how long they'll last in the field. We like to know that our users are safe and that their products will last for many years, so it's essential. Cut.
For the record, that was the test rig, not the bike.
All around the world there are Brompton owners clubs and people using Bromptons to explore the world. The guy who visited the most countries in the world, he did it on a Brompton. We just tried to make the best product we can and let the world absorb it as it sees fit. In Holland, we might as well be a fridge. It's a utilitarian tool you use to get to work. In South Korea, Japan, clubs go out on a Sunday all together, they buy accessories and keep their bikes polished, but we just make the best product we can and let the world work out how it's going to use it.
Brompton expect their bikes to last for decades, so nothing is left to chance.
This is the last stage of the assembly line, our final inspection, so the bike's been given a final once-over to make sure the customer's got exactly what they want. Every nut, bolt and screw has been tightened to the correct torque. He will throw a leg over it and test the fit and function of the bike before it goes in the box, but it's fresh and ready to ride.
Of course, the real test comes down to the famous Brompton fold. Can Brett come close to the record 5.1 seconds? Yeah, no chance.
Oh, I moved it.